Hello and welcome to the next one in the series where we give Sean these sort of fantasy conundrums and let's see what
Player
his thoughts
profile
are.
videos there. Al has the script in his hand, it's his choices, and I have no idea what's coming. So each video has created some interesting conversation. A lot of the time we do agree about a lot, but there are some that we haven't, and that's been really interesting. And they've often ended up in a gentleman's bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of us give
often angled towards this gentleman. So at some point I will flip
Clean
that.
angle.
Angled. Let's not
You
worry
got
about that.
to have the courage of your conviction.
I do. It's just that I don't like it when people are going, he fumbled the ball once, and that's not nice. Yeah, we're bloody right. It's fantasy.
He actually
Anyway,
fumbled four times.
we're
Anyway,
talking about a player. We're not talking about now. Let's move on.
Let's talk about a rookie running back going 43 overall.
43, right, okay. Yeah,
Josh Jacobs.
obviously, again, he was everybody's consensus either 101 or 102 in rookie drafts going into this year.
Yeah, mainly 101.
Not mine. I certainly don't like him at 101, 102. I can't argue 3 or 4 seems about the right spot for him. He's arguably got the obvious route to what should be good numbers because there's no one to beat out. The job is all his.
Muscle hamster.
There's no one to beat out. The job is all his. The muscle hamster is long since dead. He's been not fed for quite some time and he's probably been dead in his cage for a
He
while.
had big moments last year
He had moments.
with the Oakland Raiders.
He had moments. He had moments that I never bothered watching. He had moments, and I'm sure none of you watched it either. Unless you're a die-hard Raiders fan, and even then you probably
Probably one of them metal hats over your
probably
eyes,
watched somebody else, frankly. Anyway, better times ahead for you guys. He is an interesting running back. He's got obviously an obvious route to the, it's his job to lose. The concerns are simple for me. I think I've highlighted these and illustrated these a little bit on some other videos about talking about the rookies, deep flyer list, if you get a chance, and rookies in general, worth a look back. But the main concern is simple. He only played such a short period of time in Alabama. He did sit
sample
behind.
size.
Sample size is very small. Doesn't mean he can't do it, because running backs, if you can do it, you can do it. But it's small. Often in relief work, this is another problem when the game is already won. So
Fresh legs again.
Fresh legs. And I can see Alabama products. They're generally pretty good running backs coming into the league. I see being the Raiders. I see the job's his, but he's never played even at college. He didn't even play a 10-game season.
Can he handle a big load?
I don't know. I mean, this is
That's
for me.
the
It's too
problem,
risky. It's too risky. I mean, there's a big upside here because you talk about risk reward. I mean, 43. Did you say ADP currently? So that's
I think he'll climb because
that's either 4th round or 3rd round, depending on league size, right? So logically, when you're looking at players who can beat their metrics, he's got to get above 160 fantasy points.
someone has
Naturally,
him as high as 50.
he could exceed that. You could see that being blown past. You really could because it's a running back. It's getting the full load. My big worry with him is wear down because when you see running backs come into the league, and I'm using years of experience on this, I've got nothing of recent data I can give you because we haven't seen this situation for quite some time, but from the past I have. Often these running backs wear down the first year. Not saying he gets injured, I'm just saying you see the deterioration in their ability to
Well, he's
run.
just not used to handling that big role.
16 games, a big difference between that and college. 10 games, let alone you hardly got used at all. So for me, he's an avoid player until he's proved it. Now, if he proves it this year, I'm a buyer next year.
Yeah.
But this year, I can't risk my draft board again, high price to pay because it's an unknown quality. Perhaps he's a gambler's pick where you think this is too good to pass up. I get that. Totally understand. And maybe you've already got really good safety at the top of your draft. Maybe he's your 3rd pick or your 4th. He might be your first running back off the board. Sure, I get that. If you've got 3 stud wide receivers and then you're taking him, that's worth a shot.
I mean,
Absolutely.
your 4th round pick.
Yeah, that I get that, but it depends a lot on the actual data and made up nature of your team determines whether it's worth
What about
that pick.
game script? Would that worry you with the Raiders?
Quite a bit. Again, they do have a good line, which is nice. They've got some pieces moving in the right direction. I think Antonio Brown helps, keeps the defenses against them honest, which is good for Josh Jacobs. But we have to really see what this guy can do over the long season. And I'm wondering whether we'll see a telling tale of slowing. We'll see a couple of early games where maybe it looks a bit rusty. Then we see this really, really nice running back. We think, wow, what a great player. And then a slowdown as the touches have to decrease to give him a bit less work. And then the scripts go against them a bit in game. So he would worry me, but I totally get it. Certain teams that you may have drafted, he's worth a punt. I wouldn't deny it. If I had if I had three wide receivers, and that's the way I drafted because that was the best ADPs for me, and I'm looking at him as my first running back. Yeah, he's worth a shot because he's starting running back in a
because
team.
he has got the upside.
Upside's there. It's worth the risk, but it is a risk, and it depends on your team makeup. If you've already got 3 running backs, say, why would you want a 4th in him? You would rather have a top wide receiver that's still going to be available at that point.
Let's just look at the running. First of all, the running backs around him. We've got Sony Michel at 42, so 1 pick ahead.
No, I definitely...
Philip Lindsay 1 pick behind.
It's difficult to argue against Philip Lindsay's heart. You know, we mustn't lose sight of this. I think he's been woefully undervalued, Philip Lindsay.
So which of the 3 would you...
I would prefer to take a shot at Philip Lindsay. He's done it, he's proved it, and he was durable except injury. He is lighter, there is that risk on him, but he played very, very high octane when he was playing. I can't knock him, and his heart is so good. I said before, when he gets injured, this is a kid who works... In the video about him before he came into the NFL, well worth a look that, a year ago, I talk about his heart when he got injured before he came into the NFL and how hard he worked to get back. This is a wrist injury. It is bad, but it's not as serious as the injury previously. He's already back and practicing and everything else. He's doing everything you want. But his heart is so good, his desire is so great that none of this will hold him back. So he's woefully undervalued, even still being undervalued, even now in ADPs. He's
RB22.
Wrong. And on that ADP, he's wrong. He should be higher. He should be a second-round target. So he will go higher because as the draft's near, they will realise just how good this kid is. He's really good. So I would take him all day over Josh because he's proved it. He's a smaller back. He's got everything you're looking for, heart, desire, determination. He plays. His risk is injury, and that will always be his risk for Lindsay.
Okay, what about Jacobs then? Just wear down
game scripts and things like that will be a big issue for him. Yeah, well, it's more about wear down. You know, you've never done it at college. Now you've got to do it in the NFL. It's a different league. Players are bigger, more physical. They are the best of the best, the 1% of the 1%. You now have to prove why you were taken so high, and it can go horribly wrong. We have seen running backs who come in and you think it's the next big thing, and it just never materialises. Don't be surprised. There is a risk.
I don't think he's got the pedigree yet to say he could be the next big thing, but he could. Because
he could. He's got opportunity.
We just haven't seen enough of him to know.
I think it's just a big risk. I mean, he did 600 odd yards and 10 touchdowns in limited game scripts for Alabama in his final season before declaring. Raiders obviously saw enough to believe in the kid, and that's good. Sometimes the opportunity is all you need.
Yeah.
But when it comes round to drafting in large leagues, the truth is we know from our drafting this guy will be much higher than that ADP. We know that.
He will.
We know that without a shadow of a doubt. Like a lot of these running backs that are, you know, Philip Lindsay and this guy's ADP at 22, 23. Let's say that. They'll be going inside the top 2-3 rounds without a doubt, 100%.
And I think he'll only climb as well. He'll get higher.
Yeah, there's only higher he can go. So if you're drafting now and you can get him in the fourth,
someone has him at 270, so that's just ridiculous.
That's madness.
I don't know,
that's somebody not updating the rankings. But yeah. I will say this: if you're drafting for whatever reason, if you are drafting early, and people will often talk about whether it's good to draft early or not, you can capitalise right now on his ADP and utilise that to your advantage because that can only go up, as Al says. And I would worry the higher that climbs, the bigger the risk now becomes because obviously you've got to get more points, not less.
He could be an RB1.
Oh,
with opportunity.
Yeah, it could be.
So there is that big upside.
He's not a pick I'm not adverse to take.
You think he could get 180 points?
It's possible. Yeah, it is. There is a route to doing that. But I'm just, at this moment in that time, what I've learned about drafting certain styles of player is sometimes there are certain players like I knew last year as an example to this, exactly a similar scenario. Saquon Barkley, we were all over it. Right now, it's easy to say everybody was, but we actually said he would be the leading player you would take in dynasty drafts a year later, and that's exactly what it is.
Right, in any draft.
In any draft, that's exactly what he is. Arguably one or two, whichever way you cut it, no matter what you think. And we did have had an interesting discussion around Saquon in another video for another time. That isn't out yet.
So what sort of ADP would you be happy taking Jacobs?
Where he is right now is about the right ADP. I think that's the fairest one because we don't know what we've got. 140 is the fairest metrics on a player like this. There is a very, very high chance that this guy could be a bust as well as a breakout. A massive boom.
They're quite high, being more bust talent.
It's a real risk pick. I mean, I don't mind it at this ADP because depending on my draft style,
Derrick Henry's going 31.
Yeah.
Jacobs going 43.
Well, at least with Henry, at least you know what you've got. You've got an inconsistent player who's going to deliver a certain amount of yardage every single year and has the chance to prove me wrong or other people right that he's better than that, he can do this, he can do that. At least he's got a floor where we understand that floor. And he did play games. He played them pretty much all of them, and he, whether you like his inconsistency or don't, at least he was there. He's a big bruising kind of player. This guy we got nothing on, and it's not like I'm so high on him. It's not like I'm saying absolute second round target, must have him. No, I think I'd rather take other players above him.
But if you've gone wide receiver heavy,
if you're in the
running
fourth
back
round,
in the fourth round, yeah,
perfectly fine. I'll take that shot because he's a guy.
You're not totally against him.
Not totally against him. No, it's just he has to be at the right point. I think he just climbs, and that's a real one.
You wouldn't want him in a lot of leagues, just maybe
one or two here or there. I've actually cashed in utilising the 101 pick to get more picks in drafts. Knowing people wanted him over other running backs I prefer.
You can see why they'd want him. He's got an obvious sort of opportunity there, hasn't he?
Well, I say this about him, and I made this prediction a long time on the TFP site, actually. I say he won't be the leading running back this year out of all the rookies that are coming in.
Yeah, that's quite a bold statement when you look at the...
He's not going to be the leading running back. And
he's got the clearest opportunity.
And I stand by that.
Okay,
I still stand by that. So I think he will do okay and all right. It's difficult to judge where that ceiling or floor is. It's not as simple as saying, yep.
So it's a watching brief for you for a year.
I need to see a year of him to
Unless
get
you've got wide
engaged.
receiver.
I'm kind of if it came to a pick, it would be really difficult for me. Like say we were into the early third round, he's still on the board. It'd be quite tempting to have to pull the trigger because you're thinking potential starting running back. There's not many of those. It's hard to turn that up, and there's a chance.
Yeah, in a 16-man league, the position scarcity.
You kind of want to in a lower league where you can take a bit of safety above, like two players above him first, and then say I'll have him as my third. That's okay. That's fine. You've mitigated your risks, and if it pans out to be a great pick, not a problem. You then capitalise. But if it didn't, you probably got other picks where you can bounce back.
Well,
we don't have those luxuries, so we have to be a little bit more cautious with players like this. I've learned out ages ago very simply. Give him a year and let's see what he does, and then we can judge him for next year.
So, Josh Jacobs, ADP right, about 43.
About on.
What do you think? Higher or lower?
But he will go higher.
Bit of Brucey? Do you do a bit of Brucey?
I can do a little bit, but he will go higher.
Okay.
He will go higher.
If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like. You're not doing a bit of Brucey?
No, I can't.
No.
Can't.
We don't want to put
people
off.
They won't understand what a Brucey is.
No, Brucey,
No, they won't get it. But thanks anyway. Thanks for playing. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video.
Okay.
Leave comments, subscribe, please.
I mean, if you've enjoyed it, leave a like. Consider subscribing if you've enjoyed it and you're liking the series.
And if you do like Josh Jacobs a lot, tell us what you think he's going to do. Give us a stat line for his numbers for this year, and tell us what you think.
Yeah, are you big out of him coming out of college? Are you a big fan? That's really what I want to hear.
People who've watched the tape.
Do you trust the Raiders? That's another thing entirely, isn't it?
Mm.
So thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.